This bike is not a super bike. When the 30,000 miles it's ridden with me, I've gone up some of the steepest climbs in the UK, including Hardknott Pass. And technically, this actually isn't a road bike. When I bought it in 2019, it's actually a cyclocross bike. And the reason why I got this was because I was doing a ride across the country where I was going to be cycling to all the football clubs in the country who have won England's top division. So I got the inspiration from Mark Beaumont, where he said you need to concentrate on comfort. And I was forever seeing on GCN that a cyclocross bike, a gravel bike, an adventure bike of some sort, it's a more relaxed geometry than a road bike, which increases comfort. And when I was going to be riding 1,000 miles in a week, comfort was very important. So that's why I went for this instead of a normal road bike. But because of that, the bike is a lot heavier than a standard road bike. Taking everything off it, this bike is 12 kg. That is very heavy for what is acting as a road bike compared to your normal standard road bikes where it could be anything from like 7, 8, 9 kg. This is a lot heavier. The thing what may have took your attention straight away is I've got flat pedals. Now the reason I ride flat pedals, when I first learnt to ride a bike at the age of 21, I started off on flat pedals, so I got comfortable with that. Then I was like, well, I was starting to think about, right, I'm going to change to clipless and getting myself psyched up for it and saving up for it. And then I was knocked off my bike by a car. It's a beautiful sunny day, and the car which has hit me was a good 2 football pitches distance behind me. No other cars on the road, on the Birmingham New Road going from Birmingham to Wolverhampton. I've indicated to go from the left lane to the right lane. He's still miles behind me. I'm like, yeah, fine. He's speeding up and I realise, oh no, I'm in trouble here. And he goes, whack, straight into the back of me. Luckily, I was okay. I stood up and was walking. I was fine. But as bad as it was, I had a few cuts and bruises and then sprained big toe. And then I had a mental block in my head. It's like, I do not want to be clipped in and be stuck and like, I can't move. So that's why I've stuck to it. Have also done some research online where it says there's no benefit or detriment to having flat pedals and clippers pedals for amateurs. Now I'm going to do a bit more research and do a video on that at some point, but it's not that these are better, worse than clipless. It's just whatever you're most comfortable with, that's what you're going to perform best on. It's not until you start becoming a pro and you're putting out pro level power and cadence combined where you really start noticing a difference, or when you're sprinting, which I never do. I never do any sprinting, so I've never felt any reason to change this. I've never felt like I've missed out. It's never really stopped me getting up extremely steep climbs or riding my big miles. Like, biggest ride I've ever done on this is 160 miles, and that was on these clipless pedals. It's no problem. But these are proper metal pedals, not the cheap ones you may get on a bike to start with. It's got proper studs on it, so grip is really, really good. I'm not wearing it at the moment, but I have some Shimano mountain bike flat trainers, and they work really well together. I've been commuting on this bike for years in the depths of winter, in the rain, the snow, the ice, and I've never once had my foot slip off it. So it's never been a problem. I know some people feel like that's mad, but it's how I feel comfortable and I just stick with it. Often I'm doing big solo adventures and I don't like to stop too much, especially when on these solo adventures I'm often going to a place on a train and I need to get a specific train back. So to try and stop faff of going to shops and needing to refill my bottles as often, instead of going for 500 milliliter bottles, I have 2 1 litre bottles. Yes, it's more weight, but this is more weight than that, and this is going to slow me more down than this. And the time saved not having to go get bottles refilled as often, it's worth its weight in gold, I find. I've always got this top tube bag here. Now, with the nature of what I do with filming my rides, I need a lot of batteries, and I often have 9 small batteries in here. Plus I've got my phone. I then have my battery pack on the back of it as well. So there's a lot what goes in there. And from the camera point of view, this is the camera I use. I use a GoPro Max, and this mount here, this has the selfie stick attached to it. Like so. And I can just put my hand, I can click it, and it just records. If I just angle this up a moment, go up, you'll see that I can get this really high. That's probably gone off screen now. Yeah, it's gone well off screen. Angle that. Yeah, it's gone up there. And that, I'll put it back in. That is what helps get those shots where I've seen people say it looks like I've got a drone following me. I always carry my spares in the saddlebag at the back. 2 tubes. Better safe than sorry. But on this bike, in the tyres, which are 28C, I have slime inner tubes. So I haven't converted to tubeless, but the slime, the sealant which you have in tubeless tyres, is in the tubes here. And I've had it before, especially when I'm commuting in the winter and it's freezing cold and wet and you just don't want to change your tubes. I've heard before that noise very quickly then seals up, and you wouldn't want to be going forever on it, but I've found that it's often more than good enough to get me home. And then I start thinking, I don't want to leave it too long until like it goes again and again, and then it's like, then you are stuck and you need to then change your tube. But the slime in the tubes is a good middle ground between tubes without sealant and a tubeless setup, which I'm more than happy with. I've got disc brakes, hydraulic discs. Going up and down the hills, especially the really steep ones, I want the best quality brakes there are. And disc brakes, some people say it's overkill. As a nervous descender, I like the security of having that there and knowing that yes, I'm fine. I've got ample braking power on 20+% gradients going down. I feel safe doing it. As I said, I have 28C tyres. The pressure-wise, they can go up to 115 psi, but I never have it as that. I normally have it around 80. A bit more grip when you're going up and down the climbs, especially when it's really steep and maybe the road surface like it is in the UK, not great and wet. That little bit of extra grip from lower pressures helps with traction and just getting up the climbs, and also down the climbs safely as well with a bit more confidence. But the big thing about this bike, and I get asked about the most, is what is your gearing? What gearing do you use to get up this steep climb? So on and so on. So if we look here, the back I've got an 1142 cassette. At the front I've got a Shimano GRX 4630. Now that gives me an easiest gear of a 30, 42 at the back. Now that makes spinning up climbs so much easier. So going up climbs, let's use Hardknott Pass for example. When I went up there this year, my average cadence was around 70. And I remember when I checked at the time, when I used like gear calculators, for the same speed I went up Hardknott Pass on what would be standard gearings, I would be somewhere in the region of 45 to 40 RPM. And that cadence, it feels night and day compared to going at 70. You're still putting down the same power, because I think if I remember right, I average over 300 watts going up there. So I was putting down the power, but the difference is instead of you putting really big force down on the pedal, you put a little less force through it, but you make up for it with the extra speed of your feet going. So it's less taxing on your legs. And I found it's the best thing I've ever done for my bike, buying this gearing. I found that I can get up steeper climbs, they're more accessible, and also I can do more of them in the same ride. So I remember, what year would it have been? I think it would have been 22 when I got this gearing. And before I would have been scared of a 20% gradient, but I may have added one in a ride, and I would have probably tried to put it somewhere near the front where the legs were fresh, and I thought I've got half a chance of getting up this. Whereas now, I don't mind putting them right at the end. I don't mind now going for 30% climbs. As you know, I'm currently training to try and finally get up Bamford Clough, which is 36%. Stupidly steep climb. And having this cadence at my weight, and also the weight of the bike, gives me a chance of getting up it. But yes, I'm still going to have to put down massive power, but having this cadence is massive. My group set, so the mech here, the mech at the front, and the shifters is Shimano Tyre. So it's not the same as Shimano GRX. It didn't change the whole group set. So what I originally had at the front was a 4834. At the back was an 1134. And this rear mech can only take an 1134. Speaking to my mechanic, at the back here, this bit here, we've got a hanger extender. And that hanger extender just brings the hanger down just a little bit, which then allows the mech to be able to get around a bigger cassette at the back. I've used this setup for the past 3 years, and like I said, it's been the best thing I've ever done for my bike. Before I got this, I originally just had the 1142 upgrade, so I was still using a 4834 at the front, and that was a massive difference. But with COVID and the bike shortage of components, I already made my mind up I wanted this, but I just couldn't get hold of it for about another year. But when I eventually got it, it made the gearing even easier. So if you wanted to change your gearing and maybe get some easier gearing, you could, if you wanted to, keep this the same. You could decide to get a rear hanger extender and go for a bigger cassette. Don't ask me which one to get. I don't know. I got my local bike shop mechanic. I told him what I wanted to do. I got the idea from Katie Kookaburra, watching her YouTube videos. And I said, this is what I've seen. This is what I want. Please help me. He sorted it out. It's been an absolute dream ever since. Things which have changed on the bike. The rear wheel, the rims, that has changed twice. It only changed recently for the second time when I didn't realise, the bike mechanic noticed, but there was a crack and it was really close to fully exploding. So it's a good job he spotted that beforehand. The saddle has changed. I got that from a bike fit. One of the best £222 I've spent on my bike. I used to have problems with my feet where I got hot foot. It made riding at times hell. Went to the bike fit, said, this is my problem. Please help me. Please stop this from happening. And like that, after a 2-hour session of doing all the whatever she did, measuring me up and the bike, I've not had any problems with it since. What else has changed? I think that's it. Oh, obviously I changed the tyres from cyclocross tyres to road tyres. These are Vittoria tyres. I think that's everything about the bike. So yeah, this is my bike. If you enjoyed this video and got any questions about my bike setup or about my cycling in general, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Up another climb on 2 wheels.